Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to another live stream. Today is the 21st of June, supposedly the International Day of Yoga. This is something that we should really appreciate because it's uh, not always and every day that something that has been given by our civilization is being recognized by the whole world. And this too has come out, has materialized after so many efforts. It's not like the world went benevolent and they came to us and okay, we will recognize yoga as something that was given by you. No, that's not the case. It took uh, uh, it took months of lobbying and convincing a lot of countries and a lot of people to recognize International Day of Yoga. So yeah, I'm very happy to see that all across the world this day is being celebrated, and there is right attribution given to the civilization uh, that brought about this practice, that is yoga. Okay, let's see what the world has for us. I woke up slightly late, so I'm having my coffee right now with the stream. Pardon me if that's too distracting for you, but that's how it is. Let's see what else is trending. First of all, I very frequently see this term trending on X, that is Islamophobia. Okay, if the Muslims are not convinced, yeah, yes, we have a phobia of Islam because we know what you guys have done and what you guys are doing. Okay, we have read the history. We know what you guys did in Persia. We know what you guys did in Syria, Turkey, all the countries. So, yeah, pardon me if I am a little bit on edge when you bring up this topic. Yes, we have a phobia of Islam because we think that you will ruin our native culture and take over. We don't want that. And hence we are Islamophobic. Okay, let's see what the world has for us. Taiwan proposes visa on arrival for Indian citizens to boost tourism. Taiwan is a lone island country. It has a very, very hostile neighbor, that is China, that is looking over and monitoring every move that they make. So Taiwan has very little political elbow room left to make a policy or come up with a move that they like. So we are a very good partner for Taiwan, I would say. But although we do not, officially recognize Taiwan, obviously we have adopted this one China policy. But yeah, if you are looking to counter China, if you're looking to counter China on its efforts, there are moves that China makes to counter the influence that the Dalai Lama has on the international narrative. And keep in mind that the Dalai Lama is living in Dharamshala in the state of Himachal Pradesh in the country of Bharat. So China, now and again makes those moves to undermine the efforts of the Dalai Lama and by that extension, the state of Bharat. So if you're looking for an avenue to counter Chinese maneuvers related to the Dalai Lama, Taiwan is one place. Okay, Taiwan is a place. That island is a democratically governed island, and the mainland China is governed by the ideology of communism. So democracy anywhere is an irritant to a communist, and hence Taiwan that way has much more political proximity to Bharat compared to China. But there are other factors also involved, as massive industrial capacity. Number two, it has this it has this permanent seat at the United Nations Security Council. So yeah, there's not a whole lot that you can do, but there are things that you can do that irritates China a lot. You can further polish your democracy. That will infuriate them. You can further develop and establish relations with Taiwan. That would infuriate them. Next up is Ministry of Defense will organize an ex-serviceman job fair at Air Force Station Hindon today. All right. If you look at it this way, the military personnel who have retired, and there are people, there are combatants, there are posts in the army that require you to retire at a very early age. And when I say very early age, I mean somewhere close to 35, 40. And army, and by that extension, the national government, they have spent major resources and major money from the taxpayers into building into building the skills that army personnel or the war veteran has. So there is considerable manpower over there that we can utilize and capitalize to further our further the gains that we are having in our economy. So that is what this Ministry of Defense is doing: ex servicemen job fair. um, these ex-servicemen, they have amazing experience, they have fantastic skill sets that can be used in our day-to-day lives. um, if you see majority of the if you go to a bank, and more so public sector banks, if you see the security guards over there, they have some or the other defense background. So serving it's look at it this way: it's just we are serving serving back. Whatever they did for our nation, we are repaying it back by giving them a job after they retire. And even though it's not like we're paying them for free, they will do a job and then hence they will get paid. So it's a nice move, I would say. Next up is National Investigation Agency. National Investigation Agency investigates matters related to terrorism. Yep. Okay. So this is it. National Investigation Agency has conducted searches at multiple locations in connection with arrest of regional committee member of the banned CPI Maoist in Jharkhand. Now, keep in mind, we have also covered this in our previous live streams that there are many, frequent encounters taking place with the paramilitary and military forces and the Maoists between these two. So, Maoists aren't Maoists. They, I would say, it's a perverted version of a corrupted philosophy, I would say, because communism in itself is a very weird philosophy to begin with. But it's not exactly very weird. I would say it's on idealistic side of the scale. Okay, it's not something that is very realistic. Communism, I would say, if you're pooling the resource of a community, then it's people will have their individual ambitions, and that is the fundamental problem with communism. It is not in resonance with the basic human psyche and basic human nature. So Maoism is the perversion, or it's a modification given by Mao Zedong, the Chinese supposedly revolutionary who ushered in the Chinese communist era. So these are the people who subscribe to the Mao Zedong version of communism, and hence they are called Maoists. So there's a party, Communist Party of India, and it has a Maoist wing as well. So the National Investigation Agency, they have raided some of the locations in Jharkhand. Okay, here is the press release that NIA has put out. If you look at it very closely, wait a minute. Yep. If you look at it very closely, you can see over here that here searches were conducted on Wednesday and Thursday at the premises of absconding commanders, armed cadres, overground workers, and members of the frontal organizations, which is MSS and AMM. Yep. So we definitely need to keep these guys in check, because these aren't exactly civilian friendly. They don't believe in the rule of law, and they think that uh, you know uh, it's their rule of law that matters and not the civil law. So yeah, they need to be kept in check, and hence NIA has went forward with this agenda of raiding some of the locations over there. So let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. I really need to get some new lights. Hmm. Let's see what else do we have. We have hmm. So there's another news from the NIA. Um, in a crackdown on the proscribed teller outfit Babar Khalsa International. Okay. Uh, these are militant extremists. They subscribe to the ideology of Khalistan. That is their core demand is they want to carve out a sovereign nation state from the territory of Bharat. You know, and they have been nurturing these dreams from past 6 to 7 decades right after independence. And so far they have you know they have never been uh, closer enough to see that dream fructify. So NIA has in a crackdown, yes, they've arrested an individual named Lakhbir Singh Sandhu. Okay, he is supposedly involved with this Babar Khalsa International. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So they have conducted, that is National Investigation Agency. They have made these arrests. So during searches at the premises, connected with 10 suspects across Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, and Punjab. So these are the three states. They raided various locations in these three states, and they have arrested Jaspreet Singh. And also, they've also arrested Jaspreet Singh from district Firozpur in Punjab. Okay, now take a look at what was recovered from them, and tell me, are these people, what sort of people would keep these things with them? Okay, these are the things that were seized when they were arrested. This individual, 32 bore revolver, 69 cartridges, 100 gram of heroin, and 100 gram of opium, and somewhere close to 250,000 rupees in cash, and various digital devices. Okay, so first of all, weapons, carrying arms is uh, you know not legal in this part of the world, and carrying heroin and opium, obviously, uh, you know not very trust inducing. So yes, this individual that was arrested by NIA was seized with such goods. Now I leave it to your better judgment. What do you think of an individual who is arrested? Okay. Okay. So according to the statements put out by NIA, these terrorists were found involved in transferring funds to their associates through various channels were carrying out terrorist attacks. So it is not all. And this entire episode also has a financial component. Obviously, these people, they operate based on funding that they get. That is again a topic for another discussion, who exactly is funding all of this, but that is besides the point. The point right now that we are discussing is these people, they were arrested. NIA undertook searches, and yeah, let's see what comes out of this. Hmm. Next up is Rouse Avenue Court grants bail to Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal in money laundering case connected to now scrapped liquor policy. The AAP Supremo can walk out of Tihar jail on Friday after paying a bail bond of rupees 1 lakh. Okay, so he's again been granted some bail, and yeah, so a sitting chief minister of a state is frequently going into the jail, coming out of the jail, going into the jail, going out of the jail. How exactly is the administration running? Who is running what? We have no clarity. So yeah, the national capital, state, a sitting chief minister. I don't think there is a chief minister in our political history who has governed a state while inside a jail. It's a usual, an unspoken convention between the political circles that um, if you are, being tried or in a jail, then you should relinquish your constitutional and democratic offices. As a chief minister, I wouldn't say chief minister is a constitutional office, but it is a democratic office. People have voted for you, they have put their faith in you, and you have let them down. So, but yes, he is still in the office, and let's see uh, what comes out of this. Because according to him, and according to a lot of media reports, he isn't exactly guilty. You know, the Supreme Court judges, all the district court judges, all the high court judges, all of them are corrupt, and all of them have somehow, you know in connivance with the BJP, has planned and conspired to keep Arvind Kejriwal in jail. For those of you who do not understand, it was sarcasm. All right, next up is the Bihar. You know the state of Bihar has approved rollout of metro rail services in four cities: Muzaffarpur, Gaya, Darbhanga, and Bhagalpur. Patna is the first city in the state where the work of metro rail services is underway. So, picture this: if you want to stand among the committee of countries that are developed, you need to have a good metro rail structure, and that should be connecting each and every major cities. I would say not just metro cities. If you see, the financial capital of Mumbai, the political tech capital of Delhi, and the southern port of Chennai, and the so there is something known as the golden quadrilateral that we have in railways. It connects four major cities, I would say, from Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai. Another one I'm not able to recall. It's either Cuttack or some town in the eastern part. So yeah, there is something called golden quadrilateral. But we still need to push these railway networks deeper into the cities, because it's only when you connect these towns you'll see more development. Because if you see, there are towns in our country where we still do not have network services, we still do not have I'm not really sure, but we'll have to look this up and we'll have to verify it with data. But is there any city or a you know city or a village, I would say, some sort of very close to a city, township, or a village somewhere who does not have a railway station? If it does not have a railway station, then we you know okay, here's the bottom line. We are it's like it's been what, like 7 decades since we throughout the British, and we have had a sovereign state, a sovereign government at the center. And each and every part of our country should be connected, should have a strong connection with the other parts of the country. And this goes with intrastate as well. I mean, if you look at states such as Gujarat, for example, the mega cities of Gujarat, be it Gandhinagar, Ahmedabad, be it Surat. So all these cities need to be interconnected, because we also have, and I'm not just talking about Gujarat. Gujarat was just an example. Each and every state, there is also a lot of intra migration going on between the states. Okay, so there are people who aspire for a better life and they move to urban areas of their state, and those urban areas should be very well connected with the entirety of the whole state. Many of the states are doing well on that front, and many of the states are facing some of the issues. But I would say infrastructure is a non-negotiable, regardless of which party is at the center, and yeah, it should be undertaken on a war footing. Next up is the High Court of Bihar, that is Patna High Court, strikes down the state government's decision to hike the reservation for backward classes, extremely backward classes, scheduled castes, and scheduled tribes from 50 to 65% in government jobs and educational institutions. I would say, where are we moving towards as a society? All right, we have a reservation ceiling of 50%. That is whatever that we have, okay, half of it is already is already reserved for all the uh, non-privileged classes. And even there is a considerable amount of debate to be done on whether the classes that you consider as privileged, are they indeed really privileged. Okay, so because there are a few communities in the general category as well that are not very financially well off, but they are kept that they are deprived of benefits of reservation just because they carry a surname. Okay, so yeah, the high court has the state government tried to raise the ceiling from 50 to 65% in government jobs and educational institutions. Well, they tried to do it from 50% to 65%, but the Patna High Court has struck down its decision. So let's see what the state will do. Will it appeal to the Supreme Court, or are they happy? Okay. The state of Uttar Pradesh is set to establish world's first conservation and breeding center for Asian king vultures or red-headed vultures in Maharajganj. Can you guess the name of the center that they have, the name that they have given to this conservation center? Okay, the center is named Jatayu Conservation and Breeding Center. It is believed that Jatayu is a holy bird, uh, you know, in this part of the world for the role that it played in the epic Ramayana. Yeah. So all the Asian vultures. So all the Asian vultures, they are critically endangered species. Jatayu Conservation and Breeding Center. All the best, state of Uttar Pradesh. I would say I would really commend the works of Uttar Pradesh. I know there are a lot of people involved. I would not just give credit to the sitting chief minister. Usually people tend to give all the credit to him. Obviously, he deserves credit. Obviously, but it's not just a single individual that brings about change. I mean, there is a whole team of people behind him that is making all of this possible. So yeah, kudos to all of them who have you know, made their work speak for itself. Next up is Vladimir Putin. He's never out of the news. The media loves him, the West loves him, although in a not although in a twisted way. But yeah, so Russia's Putin in Vietnam seeks new security architecture in the Asia Pacific region. Now keep in mind, Putin is visiting Vietnam. He was visiting Vietnam prior to coming to the shores of Vietnam. He was in North Korea, so he is on an extended tour of this part of the world. And the reason why he's here is, and he has realized this, that the West, and more so the United States, has probably covered the entire part of Europe and South America, for that matter, I would say. So all of those countries politically, they have made their priorities very clear, that are they rallying behind Russia, or are they aligning with the policy of imposing sanctions of the United States and the West. And it's pretty much clear that Europe is a played out field, politically at least. So now the attention is shifted towards Asia, and many of the world leaders are trying to rally support for their cause from the Asian countries. And this goes for all, not just the Russia Ukraine war, for even for Israel Hamas conflict. You see that the countries are trying to even rally Asian countries to support for their cause. So there is this rising sentiment that we need to rally Asian nations to add more weight to our argument, and this is the time that the Asian countries should capitalize on this. It in a way shows that the voice of the Asian nations, they matter. So this would be the right time for you know Asian nations to stand up for what they believe in, and Obviously, there are going to be countries who say that no, we are neutral, we are not aligned, but uh, it's worse. It's worse than taking not taking any side. Yep. So Putin is in Vietnam. Okay. Putin was welcomed in Hanoi, which is the capital of Vietnam, with a 21 gun salute during a military ceremony on Thursday, as he was praised by one of the communist run country's top leaders. Okay. Okay. Let's see what comes out of this. Now, since we are on Russia, we'll discuss all that I have on Russia, I would say. So, yeah. So, prior to visiting Vietnam, Putin was in North Korea, and in North Korea, they have signed some of the agreements with the North Korean leader, that is Kim Jong Un. And among those agreements, there is a defense agreement. Okay, there is a defense agreement that Russia has signed with North Korea, and according to that agreement, Russia has promised that if there is an aggressor, there is a foreign aggressor or a third party aggressor that it attacks North Korea, Russia will indeed stand in defense of the North Korean people. And this pact has somehow urged South Korea. Now, keep in mind, North Korea is, you know, is a country that is not aligned with the West, is a country that despises West, is a country that resists Western influence in their country. But South Korea is largely aligned with, and it's also an ally of the United States and the West. So Putin's visit to North Korea has not got down well with the South Korean people, and they have somewhat apprehensions about their defense agreements. So there had to be some clarifications from the Russian side as well. So Putin, he has made some clarifications, and these are his exact statements. Okay. South Korea, the Republic of Korea, has nothing to worry about because our military assistance under the treaty we have signed only arises if aggression is carried out against one of the signatories. As far as I know, Republic of Korea is not planning aggression against the DPRK. So the logic that Putin has implied to pacify the South Korean leadership is that the treaty that they have signed with North Korea, it implies that if a foreign aggressor attacks, so if you are not planning to attack, you do not have anything to you do not have anything to be anything to worry about. Okay. So keep in mind, South Korea is a strong ally of United States. United States has also supplied, some of its advanced missile technology to South Korea to counter the, military adventurism and military endeavors of North Korea. So yeah, in a way, this is a veiled. There is a veiled reference somewhere here. If you read between the lines, there is some reference to the United States. United States. Yeah, some veiled reference to United States over here, because they have supplied some missile technology to South Korea. But there is also some warning that he has. It's not exactly a warning, but I would say uh, he has made it pretty clear that here, as far as supply of lethal weapons to the war zone in Ukraine, that would be a very big mistake. Okay, so when Russia had signed a treaty with North Korea, so South Korea decided that okay, we will also send weapons to Ukraine. Okay, we will also send weapons to Ukraine. Now, in response to this, Putin has said, and these are his exact words, I'm not paraphrasing it. As for the supply of lethal weapons to the war zone in Ukraine, that would be a very big mistake. Okay. All right. I hope that this will not happen. And if it does happen, then we will also take appropriate decisions which are unlikely to please the current leadership of South Korea. They're not even, mincing words. This is just straight out, for the lack of a better word, warning. This is straight out warning to South Korean leaders that, we are not going to harm you by signing a defense treaty with North Korea. But if you think that you can supply weapons to Ukraine, then we will have to take some decisions that you guys might not like. So I would say there is some major work to be done between the diplomatic relations of South Korea and Russia. Okay. And one last piece of information on Russia before we move ahead is now reeling under the sanctions of the West. Russia has a very little elbow room to, stay afloat with its monetary policy. Number one, it has there are sanctions on it. It cannot trade in dollars. Okay, the hard currency across the world. That is number one. Number two, Russian banks are also reeling under sanctions. So even if it is, doing business outside of US dollars, uh, if it is doing business with other countries, and doing business requires you to make payments, and those payments are made through banks. Now majority of the Russian banks are under United States sanctions. So what they are doing is the Russia has some nexus with China to circumvent these sanctions. So China, some of the border towns of China are allowing Russians to open non-resident accounts in smaller Chinese banks, and this has come to the attention of the White House. Okay, since Putin's visit, special authorized banks have been set up in the border regions, which allow Russian firms to open non resident accounts with Chinese banks. Yep, so they are setting up banks to circumvent all the sanctions. Trade between Russia and China has ballooned to a record of $240 billion in 2023. Obviously, clearly, there is some nexus between it, and it's like a cat and mouse race. Think of it as like this: whenever there is some sanctions that United States places on Russia, there are brains sitting in Moscow and in Kremlin to circumvent those sanctions, and each and every time they manage to bypass those sanctions and you know come up with a quick fix, I would say. So I would say people in the United States, you need better brains to come up with sanctions, so they are not able to explore these loopholes that your policies have. So yeah, one message to United States: think of better sanctions, hire better people. Yep. Uh, hmm. Okay, trade with Beijing has become more important to Moscow since it sent its army into Ukraine in February 2022. Russian banks were subsequently blocked from the SWIFT global payment system, while many Western countries and companies severed ties with Russia. Up. Yeah, so Russia is in a deep pickle, and this, it's a spiraling conflict from the beginning, starting from the year 2014. There has been constantly these series of sanctions that the West puts on Russia. Then Russia finds out ways to circumvent those sanctions. Then there are another series of sanctions. It has been going on. So I really think that these leaders should sit and think whether sanctions is the way to go. Can you really, you know, uh, can you really force Russia to rethink its stand on Ukraine by the method of sanctions, or are there other avenues that need to be explored? Because so far from what I see, sanctions aren't yielding any results. At least they are not out in the public domain. If they are, indeed yielding results, and we are not knowing it, then yeah, I wouldn't know what to say. Yep. So next up is there was a hooch tragedy. Hooch tragedy meaning there are some local methods to produce liquor, and it's a very common thing. People produce their local liquor, and it is produced everywhere. But sometimes what happens is the synthesis of that local liquor becomes a poison, because uh, The process of making homemade liquor is it's very complicated. It involves a specific expertise, a specific skill set, and you aren't exactly manufacturing these with equipments and all that. So there was a huge tragedy, and 35 people have died in the state of Tamil Nadu in Kallakurichi. Okay, 35 people have died by consuming you know locally made liquor. And yeah, prayers to the families of the people who have died. The chief minister announces an ex gratia of 10 lakh rupees for bereaved families, forms inquiry commission. The individual who was the alleged perpetrator, Chinna Durai, responsible for the illicit liquor, has been apprehended with 200 liters of toxic substance seized for investigation. So let's see what comes out of this investigation. So even those states with a liberal liquor policy, I mean, you guys, the state of Tamil Nadu has a liquor. I guess it is legal in the state of Tamil Nadu. Then why would somebody end up drinking this? You know, I guess it's more costly. I really don't know if your state has wine shops and everything else. Why would you consume locally produced liquor? Uh, Next up is United States to focus on deepening ties with Vietnam after Putin's Hanoi visit. Yes, the alarms are going off in the White House right after Putin has visited Vietnam. Now, Vietnam is a communist country, so it has some sort of a political proximity with Russia, because Russia being, the birth center of communism. Yep. So, United States has, made a statement. Okay, I'll read the exact statement. Where is it? Yeah. So there's this individual, that is White House National Security spokesperson, named John Kirby. Okay, he held a regular press briefing, and these are the statements that he has made right after Putin visited Vietnam. He says the US upgrade of relations with Vietnam last year, and added, we are going to stay focused on continuing to deepen it, broaden it, improve it for our mutual benefits for each other and to the region. Okay. The US is now Vietnam's top export market. Oh, okay. Uh, you know, this might ruin the equation, between Russia and Vietnam, because the top export market for Vietnam is United States. So, so it's on the international level. I would say it is the economy that takes precedence over democracy. You know, if so as to explain that in the layman terms, if you are a country, okay, and you have some problem with another country, regarding democracy, or regarding the way that country politically functions and whatnot. But if that alleged country has good trade relations with you, then there is always a chance that you can normalize relations between those two countries. So I would say yes. So it is the economy and self-interest that takes precedence over democracy, because Vietnam is a top export market. So it would be a tough variable for Russia to negotiate with Vietnam, because its interests are tied with United States. Uh, However, Vietnam is awaiting an important United States decision by July 26 on whether to elevate Vietnam to a market economy status. Okay, okay. It's a communist society, I would say. Market economy is economy that lets businesses flourish, that incentivizes private ownership of business. So let's see. Okay. I think Putin visit makes Vietnam less trustful in the eyes of United States and may negatively affect the US decision. Let's see what comes out of this treaty. So Vietnam's net purchases of foreign exchange in the 4 quarters through this were $7 billion. Oh, yeah. So it's a very interesting variable in this triangle, that is Russia, US, and Vietnam. So on the one hand, Vietnam has this political ideological proximity to Russia, that is communism. On the other hand, Vietnam's top trading partner is United States. So it will be interesting to see what will a country that chooses to govern itself with the communist ideology, which side of the equation does it choose? Does it want to preserve its, you know, uh, trading, and does it want to preserve that, the trading account that it has with United States, or does it want to preserve the, ideological proximity that it has with Moscow? They'll usually find a diplomatic uh, you know Next up is Somalia. Okay, the country of Somalia. All right. So to summarize this entire episode of Somalia, you'll need some background information. In the year of 2006, Ethiopia invaded Somalia. Okay, let me just pull it up. Okay. Where it is. Africa has been reeling under a lot of militancy. It's just that we don't see it on our news channels because, you know, yep. Hmm. Somalia's security has been underwritten by foreign resources since Ethiopia invaded in 2006. Okay, now Ethiopia invaded Somalia in 2006, toppling an Islamist led administration. Okay, so I guess they did it for a good cause, I would say. It is what something that they thought was a good cause, at least. So but after that, it has triggered this bout of increasing insurgency in their country, and it has been reeling under it ever since. So all the countries of the west, and majority of the funding has come from the west, and more particularly from United States and European Union. So they are providing some, peacekeeping forces and military forces to be there and protect the civilians, and also train their local military. But there are apprehensions that, if these guys leave, the militants from Al Shabaab is an offshoot of, it's an offshoot militant fundamentalist organization subscribing to the Islamist ideology. It is it subscribes to the idea and ideological leanings of Al Qaeda. So Al Shabaab, Al Qaeda are somewhat similar on ideological fronts. So, if these peacekeeping forces, if they leave, they are going to leave Somalia in a turmoil. That is what has come out, and now the West is also being squeezed for funds, because on the one hand they are providing funds for, they need funds for their conflicts such as Russia, Ukraine, and Israel, Hamas, and on the other hand they also need funds to protect the civilians in Africa. So I guess they are weighing weighing their pros and cons, and they are making decisions, and they have decided to pull funding from, African peacekeeping forces. But there are apprehensions in the locals and in the civilians that if they leave, the militants from Al Shabaab will just come back again, and it will again be ruled by an Islamist government. So it would be interesting to see you know what are the outcomes of this. Next up, I have some videos. So let's see if those videos are nice. Wait a minute. Oh, not this one. Mm, yep. So audio might be a little, you know, Let's see. YouTube. It's behaves funny sometimes. Yep. So let's see. So this is a video. This is a video. This is This is people from United States. They are celebrating this International Yoga Day at Times Square. So I just really wanted to bring out the contrast as to uh, can you point out to me something that the other countries have gifted that the people in United States are celebrating? They're adopting these methods wholeheartedly. If you compare this with all the protests, Palestinian protests that are going on across the universities and educational campuses all across United States, this is something that has been gifted by our civilization, and they're practicing peacefully. So not only just you are just it, so not only adds to your health, it also adds to your overall well-being, and it is something that is something that promotes peace, I would say. So it's very heartening to see. Okay, next up I have this video of soldiers. Okay, we have some soldiers practicing yoga. These are the soldiers. Wait, let me put it up for you. Okay, these are soldiers. They are practicing yoga along the border of, and then in the background, this is the Pangong So Lake, and on the other side of that lake, it's disputed territory between Bharat and China. Okay, so they're practicing yoga over there. Amazing, stunning visuals, stunning scenery. Yep. This should act as an inspiration for all the civilians over here. Hmm. Next up, I have this. Okay, it is. Wait, let me present. Okay, so this is a world's highest railway bridge that we have managed to build. Now, this was the first trial. A train is running on that bridge. It is built over the river Chenab. Okay, like I said, I have maintained this consistent stance that if you wish to see, or if you aspire to see yourself as a developed nation, building up of infrastructure is a non-negotiable. It shouldn't be something that is political. It's an absolute necessity. So regardless of any dispensation that is at the center, building up transport infrastructure, building up of logistic infrastructure is, it's a mandate. Okay, you cannot attach it with politics. Yep, you can see people who are happy. Yes. Okay, that's it. This is all I have for you guys today. Thank you for joining. Thank you to all the viewers and listeners. If you like our content, subscribe to our channel. I'll see you guys in the next stream.